All right, now joining us all the way from Tehran, we've got Mr. Yusuf Jalali, who's a journalist, and he's getting the updates from there at the moment. Yusuf, tell us, what is the situation like at the moment, on the ground in Tehran? It is day 12 of the war, and the Americans and the Israelis have specifically been targeting the Iranian capital.
Israeli strikes on the capital, Tehran, and other parts of the country continue unabated. We continue to hear explosions across the capital, Tehran, mostly on the eastern parts of the capital, where much of Iran's missile storage facilities and even production lines exist there. Of course, other parts of the country, like the military institutions, police stations, Basij bases, all these locations have come under an attack by the Israelis and the Americans. And of course, the conflict took a turn when we saw that oil storage facilities in northern and southern Tehran were targeted, creating massive cloud of smoke across the capital, Tehran. Of course, the fire has been put out after several days of operations. But of course, Iran continues to retaliate. Iran shows no sign of backing down. It continues to threaten the United States that it is ready to continue this fight for days and even weeks. Now, one of the major, of course, places that was targeted today inside the capital, Tehran, was a branch linked to Sepah Bank. Of course, with confirmed casualties. And the Iranian Armed Forces spokesperson emerged and showed up and then issued a very serious note and warning to the United States and Israel, and now said that the banks and financial institutions linked to Israel and the United States in the GCC region are a legitimate target. And of course, we heard reports of massive evacuations and from those financial institutions inside those countries. So Iran shows no sign of submission, no sign of capitulation. And just today, we saw thousands of Iranians in the capital, Tehran, took to the streets to, of course, hold and stage rallies in commemoration of the commanders that were killed on the first day of this conflict, saying that this is a culture of martyrdom and their blood, quote unquote, fuel and catalyze their resolve and will to continue to fight against the Israelis and the Americans.
Right. Now, and also, Yusuf, at this moment, tell us a bit about, the condition of Mujtaba Khamenei, the person who's been appointed as the next Ayatollah, replacing Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. There are reports that he's possibly injured, but he's safe, which is said to be one of the reasons as to why he's not made a public statement since his appointment. What is his condition and what's happening then?
Well, of course, so far we have not seen him appear on state television or delivering any even written statement so far. But of course, the Iranian state broadcaster, the IRIB, did confirm that he sustained some wounds on the first day of the attack. He was also among the targets, but he survived the strikes. But of course, we heard some reports coming from U.S. media saying and suggesting that he sustained injuries to his left leg or foot, and of course, injuries and wounds or scars in his face, lacerations, so to speak, in his face, and his bruisings in his left eye. So this is what we've been hearing from Western media about his health condition. But all in all, everybody's waiting for him to just deliver a statement, because the Iranians are rejoicing his election as the third supreme leader. The supporters of the Islamic Republic are passionately supporting him. They're throwing their weight behind him. Right. They held a special ceremony meant to pledge allegiance to him. So, yes, the Iranians are waiting to see him.
That's interesting. A special ceremony to pledge their allegiance to him. Now, for someone who has followed the politics within Iran from inside, can you give us some insights of what sort of a leader Mujtaba Khamenei could be? Is he going to be different from his father, or are we expected to see a more different style of governance from him, because he's now effectively in charge of the country? How is his political ideology different, or are we expecting to see more of the same, or a much more hardline leader?
Well, from his background, he served as the gatekeeper inside the office of the supreme leader for years. Especially he came under the spotlight back in 2009, following the mass nationwide protests. That of course the protests were about some inconsistencies or irregularities within the presidential election back in 2009, when Ahmadinejad won for the second term, and his rivals, of course, contested the results of the election back then. So the suppression of those protests were handled by the Basij and the IRGC. Of course, as always, these institutions are responsible for just confronting the protesters, the anti-government protesters. And his role in supporting the IRGC and the Basij back then was called into question by his reformist rivals, including Hassan Rouhani, who emerged as his rival and competitor in the recent Assembly of Experts voting. Of course, from his background, he appears to be a person who is going to and expected to continue the path taken by his late father, the late Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. And many believe that there's not going to be any change in his leadership style, because he built his political background inside the Beit Rahbari, which is the office of the supreme leader, and he learned how to lead the country from his father during all these years. So we're not expecting him to change. But what Iran is projecting it's projecting continuity and resilience in the face of the incoming strike. So we're not expecting any change, any palpable change in the style of the leadership of Mojtaba Khamenei compared to his father.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.